Let me get set up. Man, I don't know what is going on with my eyes. I can't see jack today. I don't know what is going on. Been to the doctors for it. They just say I have dry eyes. What the hell? Like, how my eyes so dry? Nobody can help me. So I take pills now. I take prescription eye drops. And these are all like the pills I'm taking. I don't know what the heck they do, but it's supposed to help the dryness. All right. Actually, if I think about it, oops, if I remember right, they say the pills I'm taking help the tears in my head like flow out more. So I should look like I'm crying all the time, but I don't. Um, they tested my tear duct. By the way, I'm a little early. I'm just kind of getting things set up here. Nico should be here at 7 in like 10 minutes. I just want to, make sure it's ready, make sure Nico can get on today. So I'm going to text him now. Let me see. Here we go. Sent it again. All right. Just early, but getting set up. So I will be back, guys, shortly. I just want to see if Nico can get on. Um, oh my gosh. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can fix this too, by the way. almost ready. I'm going to start this at 7 o'clock. Actually, I'm going to put that in the comments. We are starting at 7 a.m. Ask your questions. Oh, yeah, dude. I don't know what's up with my eyes. It's almost like I'm not even wearing my glasses right. Yeah, I can see a little better, but it's like I can't even see my computer screen. I don't know what the hell. It's really annoying. Oh well. It is what it is. Let's see if I can fix my. That's weird. Super weird. Trying to make my computer screen the font bigger, and the bigger I make the font, the tinier the screen gets. That's weird. What can I do? Anyway, we're getting close. What time is it? 6:55. 5 minutes, guys. Getting my drink ready. All right. Close enough. Let's see if Nico can hop on this one today. So this will be an interesting live for me because I have 10 workers out right now doing snow clearing. They've been out for about, some of them 2 to 3 hours already. So I'm keeping my eye on the dispatch board at the same time. My operations manager is in charge of the snow events and the snow workers. So really, the only time he needs to call me, I guess, is when there's a problem, like a big problem. For example, last night he calls me because we had a storm yesterday. It was pretty late. Not late, but it wasn't early morning. It started snowing later on in the morning, so we had guys that were out a little later than I like. So he calls me. I don't know. I think it was probably 9. No, probably 8 o'clock. And we don't normally plow that late, but because we had a lot of complaints because it didn't really snow in the morning. When it started snowing, it was patchy and like certain areas was snowing and some didn't, and so we were caught off guard. We were actually doing leaf cleanups earlier that day, yesterday, and So we had some complaints. So because of that, we just had everybody go back out at like 4 or 5 o'clock. Just go. You know what I mean? Just go knock everybody's house down one more time for the day. Just start fresh. And we had so my ops manager calls me and he's like, got good news and bad news. He said, what do you want to hear? And I said, dude, I don't care. And he said, one of the trucks, the radiator went down in one of the plow trucks. So he's like, I need this much money. I need to spend this much money to go buy an radiator tonight, and I'll work on it all night. And I should have it up and running by morning because we knew it was going to storm again this morning. So I said, okay. So we hung up, and then I called him back and I go, what's the good news? And he's like, the good news is I can get it done. I can fix this by morning, by the time that everybody's out plowing. I said, are you sure? He's like, yeah. You know what? Somebody's pulling up right now. So I have no idea if I'm going to have to get up because normally by the time I'm streaming, um, this, like, I think everybody's done for the most part, but I'm feeling a little confident nowadays that I can stream and nobody will be calling me on my phone. Although I am kind of interested to see who is pulling into the shop right now. Maybe I can tell by the truck. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? It could be getting stalled. I doubt they're coming to the shop to just give me bad news. So I'm just going to trust the process and let the ops manager do what he's got to do. You know what I mean? So that I know we're going to talk about other things today, but um, one of the things that I'm doing, I'm getting ready, and we're basically starting that. We started it probably a month ago, and definitely leaning onto it with the snow workers is my ops manager is going to be pretty much 90% in charge of all the guys that make money, all the man-hour rate employees. And I'm going to step back a little bit. And that's not like in my nature. I like to be out there. I like to give everybody dap. I like to say, hey, how's it going? What can I do? Like, how's work going? How's your life going? Everything good? How can I help you? So it's been a little interesting, but we do a company meeting every Wednesday, and I think that's when I'm able to like be there for the guys. Because the problem I've been noticing is that I've been wanting my ops manager to be in charge of all the workers and have him tell everybody, you know, what to do. Like when somebody calls off, he's the one they call. When there's a problem with quality, he's the one that needs to tell them. Issues, good or bad, he needs to be the one to tell them, and the workers need to respect him and not go over his head to me or to Daisha or Fernando, you know, and say, you know, hey, I need this favor or whatever, help me out. So I started realizing that while I'm doing the company meetings on Wednesday, I could step back a little bit and let him really, you know, run the workers how he wants. I mean, basically he has one job: make sure every job on the list for the day gets done, whatever it takes. Um, Obviously, there's some parameters. You can't move people that are making so much money to do a service that doesn't expect to bring in a huge man-hour rate. I think I see you now. Let me see. Problem is I can't see, man. Give me 1 second. What's up? Are you there yet?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hear me?
Wow.
There you go. I see your chair, brother.
I just realized I can't hear you. So give me one.
We'll figure this technology thing out at some point. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. On my phone, it's moving, but on my desktop, we're frozen. So I don't know what to think. Yeah, no worries. No, I know. Trust me, man. While you're doing that, I got to figure out my headphone situation.
Froze up.
But I can't hear you through my headphones.
Can you hear me now at all?
Yeah, I can hear you the whole time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. I'm going to try taking my headphones off, putting them back on. I may need to go old feature ones, like where the wired ones.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
gotcha.
that's why I just put my thing, because my headphones were messing up over there. I don't know.
All right, so here we are. We are doing the live finally together. And you froze up on my screen again, but whatever. We'll continue on, no big deal. So I don't know if you were listening, but I have 10 guys doing snow routes right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so it's pretty, I feel kind of weird because I never really streamed, at least started while the guys are like doing snow in the middle of it. Usually it's kind of like the tail end. Some people already finished, or it's just really started. You know what I mean? So I know, I have a little bit of time, but never like in the thick of it in the middle. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna let my ops manager take over, which that was the deal. This is our third storm, and he's been doing great. I think that there's still some polishing up. It's kind of weird, right? It's like we've been doing snow for 12 freaking years. Well, maybe not 12, probably 10. At least I have. And like here we are. Yesterday, it started snowing after we were doing leaf cleanup. So we were like doing leaf cleanups because the sun was out for the first time in like 4 days.
Yeah.
And then it started snowing. So that kind of threw everybody off. And it didn't snow like heavy. It was wet, almost like rain. So and we're paying everybody hourly still this week. So I'm like, hey, let's be mindful. I didn't say send everybody home. I didn't do that, but I said be mindful because we are paying everybody hourly, and we're not really. I know the commercials weren't making money because
it was like middle of the day kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like I knew we weren't going to get full plows on those. So I was like, just be mindful. That's all. We're paying everybody hourly. And anyway, I think he kind of like took it as like, well, I better send everybody home. So we had a ton of complaints yesterday. And so it's kind of funny how we've been doing this for a long time, but you can do anything for a long time. And then something comes up and it's kind of like, oh shit, what do we do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we decided that when it starts snowing late in the, like not late in the day, but like after 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11, we're going to send everybody an email and say, hey, the snow just started. So give us a break, please. You know what I mean? Like, calm down. We will be there today. But I get it. They paid a lot of money. And, but I think even like the new guys, we had a new guy yesterday and he's like, he actually invoiced a job that was $900 and it didn't need like, it couldn't be plowed. You know what I mean? So they salted it because there was a thin layer of snow and ice. So they salted it, but he invoiced them for like the whole kit and caboodle, right? Plowing in everything. And so I was like, dude, like it's fine. Like I would have caught it. I never would have billed the customer, but I saw your invoice. It's like crazy, man. He goes, but this was like his first snowstorm. He doesn't know what snow is. To him, that was like the storm. And I think customers probably think the same thing. They're like, "Oh, it's coming down. Like they better be here right now." Like calm
Yeah.
down. This is nothing. Like this is nothing. So I think that we just need to do a better job of like educating even the employees. Like a snow drop falls and it's like snow now. I'm getting in my truck. It's like, dude, wait. Like it might not even stick yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There was a small chance here in Iowa yesterday. It was like noon, and the guy who works with me, there's like a 30% chance at like 7 p.m. And I was like, don't even worry about it. And he's like calling all his buddies, hey, you want to do snow? We need help. We need help. I'm like, dude, stop calling everybody. He's like, I need to go get snow boots. I'm like, no, it's going to melt. It was like 50 degrees today. It's fine. If it
Yeah,
stays, we'll get a tenth of an inch. Which I like when I used to work for somebody, for some reason, I always got really excited when it snowed, when we were going to go plow. I thought it was so fun.
Yeah.
Now I don't think it's that fun. But.
Yeah, I actually went through a phase. It's like, yeah, I thought it was fun. So my early days, I never thought it was like fun. Oh, we're gonna get out in the morning and plow. Like that was never fun back in the day. But while I was in my truck, like once I got in my truck, I was fine. I was ready to plow whatever, and I was ready. I could have kept going and I would keep going. And I had these big jobs that would take me like 4 hours and I just loved it. And then I'd get out of the truck and then I'd be like, oh, it's going to snow tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know? But then I'd get my truck and I was fine. So luckily I have that, like, I like that, you know? I actually had a few people call me from YouTube, like, or not, I don't know if they'd call me, but they'd call the office and then the office would say, hey, this guy keeps calling you. So I had a few calls while I was plowing, like talking to people, um, you know,
Oh,
so I don't know that I thought that was pretty cool, and they'd always be like, no, I know I don't want to waste your time, and I'm like, dude, I'm plowing for like hours, like I got nothing to do.
yeah.
So that was cool. Um, but yeah, so what are you up to now that it's December?
We're still doing a lot of leaf cleanups, to be honest.
Yeah,
I still probably have like 25 or 35 left between there.
yeah,
I
me
don't know if
too.
I'll get all of them, but do you just transition to like a spring cleanup if you can't get to them in the fall if the snow stays?
Yeah, I mean, we'll still go out like January. These people will still say, hey, it's finally clear, like January 10th or something. And we'll go out. Like we'll pretty much get all the leaves done eventually. We do have a ton right now. We had the whole week booked, and we only got to like 4. You know what I mean? So, and I thought yesterday we were gonna be good. It was actually pretty warm in the morning,
Yeah.
like early morning. Like if our guys would have went out at 6 a.m., we could have got like a good $1,500 done. by 10 o'clock, I think is when it started storming, maybe 11. But we didn't know. And I don't know if we would have ever asked everybody to come in that early anyway, but they started a little late because it's normal time. Because it starts getting warm. Like 9 o'clock is when our guys started going out now, just because that's when it's like the weather's a little more stable for us. Like it's not too cold. And but yeah, we'll still do some of those. We do have some customers that probably will just shut down and like just don't want to call anybody to pay for anything until spring, and then we'll do some leaf cleanups there. But we do a good job of like sending out emails for all these customers that have leaves and let them know that if you get snow piles on top of your leaves, you could get snow mold, and it could make patches in your yard if it's not cleaned up before the spring. So, I mean, that usually helps, and it's the truth, you know what I mean? So, I mean, for the most part, they will get done, I think. But we will have customers that like have the do not market clicked on them, so they might not get some of these things, which is becoming more of a problem,
Yeah, I have it. On a form that says like they click a box when they submit a form to me. It says like, do you want to be marketed? And like 90% of them say no.
Yeah.
I think they think you're just gonna send junk email, which maybe to them it is, but I think it's like a lot of the like mass automations and stuff. I get so many off of that because people are like, oh, I didn't know you're supposed to cut back burning bush or hardcore burning bushes right now. It's like,
yeah, for sure. What's up, Walter? Forgot to say what's going on. Dude, Walter has been like watching YouTube, like my videos, like since day one, pretty much. And I've got to see like his business go from like mine, small, to pretty respectable in the community. So I think that's really cool.
Is he local to you?
Nah, he's Oklahoma. He came to visit me basically almost a year from today, a year ago. And it was really cool. Yeah. So.
I was gonna ask you quick.
Yeah.
With the leaf cleanups, you have to have obviously a minimum, but how many guys minimum do you put on the leaf cleanups? 2, or do you send big crews?
Yeah, 2 is what we try to send, but we could send up to 3 because we have those cleanup crews that are 3 guys. So, hold on. Yeah, Walter. It was nice seeing us, and from Oklahoma. Yeah, so so we have garden maintenance jobs as well. The garden maintenance that are weekly, every 2 weeks, or even once a month, which we're not going to do next year. We're not doing monthly garden maintenance jobs. I don't know if it's like we're going to be cold stone on that, or the really big ones. We might still do that. I don't really know. I know we kind of talked about it, but things come up, right? So we don't know like what's going to happen, but some of those need leaf cleanup, and we go like, so if like for example, we had a guy that didn't show up for whatever reason, and so we had like 3 leaf cleanups because they were garden maintenance jobs, but they were leaf cleanups. That's a minimum. We're just going to be there for a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if there's 1 or 2 guys. So in that case, like my ops manager was actually calling people that we laid off for the winter, and I was like, I had to step in that one. I'm like, dude, no, we let them go. Like he can go himself. He's like, yeah, but he's kind of like upset. And I'm like, dude, that's a job. Like he wants hours. Like we let people go so that guys like him could get more hours like this late in the year. So he's got to deal with it. You know what I mean? And he was standing right there. And I was like, so I was still telling my ops manager, like, dude, doesn't matter. Like, if he wants hours, this is what he's got to do, I said, now, especially because it's a garden maintenance job, you can't fix that. Like, you can't change that. If it was a real, true leaf cleanup job, then we could probably have him go with the other guys and they all do it together, because a real leaf cleanup job is priced hourly per person, I don't think we have a minimum. We've kind of toyed with that. A leaf cleanup for us, I'll tell you straight up, you're probably more expensive than us for leaf cleanups. But we have a giant section of our service area that's new, and like there's hardly any big trees. So you know what I mean. We do what we got to do, but we do charge $35 per man per hour, and a $30 disposal fee on top of that. So roughly, the jobs that we do get are roughly around $250. You know what I mean? Sometimes more, and they're all residential for the most part. Unless it's like a garden maintenance where we're supposed to be there for however much time anyway. We are changing the garden maintenance jobs. I don't know if I told you this, but we're going to one-man crews for garden maintenance. Have I said that to you?
No.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. That was a long process to come up with that. We actually kind of plugged in numbers, and actually we had to raise our prices. And you raise your prices with two-man crews, it just sounds big and scary for the customers who already. Our issue with garden maintenance is that we're there every week or every 2 weeks. So the gardens and the yards look great. You know what I mean? So why would a customer want to pay so much? You know what I mean? When it looks great. So I thought, well, how about for like the easy yards or the ones that we've already been doing garden maintenance for a year or two? They get, we don't tell them it's one-man crew, but we say, we're gonna change your minimum to an hour and a half, and this is your price with our price increase, because we did have to raise our prices. So it sounds a lot cheaper, but it's just one person. So I think it's going to do well. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Do you have anybody for lawn applications? A lot of people, or no?
No, not yet.
Have you?
I think we will. Yeah, we didn't push it. We sent out an email originally, but I think we got like 3 that prepaid. So we only tried getting prepaid customers. So that's probably why we're not doing. It doesn't seem like we have a lot. But when the season starts, and we start pushing it, I think we're going to do better. But our goal is just to fill up one route. Like. Obviously, if we could do more, that'd be great. But I think we'd be happy with one route, just because we're kind of slowly getting back into it, and we already have a worker who's kind of not committed to like overtime and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So we got to be a little careful with that. Sorry, I'm reading an email or a text.
Do you listen to the Green Grind podcast at all?
The who? Green Grind? Is that with Ballard? No, I haven't.
Leroy.
No, is it good?
It's actually not bad. They get other business owners on there, and they kind of talk about how they got to where they're at. I mean, once you listen to 5-10 episodes, Corey and Leroy, the host or whatever, they do ask like the same questions over and over, so it kind of gets repetitive. And some of it isn't like, some of them are like $100,000 companies, and it's not really like too much information. But some of them are like, the one I was listening to yesterday, I think. The one thing he said instead of doing a to-do list like every week or every day, like obviously everybody kind of has a mental to-do list when they go into work. He switched his focus to doing a not to-do list. So he says he will not go out and do estimates. He will not, he needs to delegate all that stuff and not do things. And he said that changed his whole business. Stop being kind of a pushover is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Totally. The conference I went to, that was one of the topics. Not necessarily worded like that, but it was, what do you call that when you don't compromise on these things? The deal breakers, but not deal breakers. I don't know. There's another word for that. Everybody should have these deal breakers. For example, like, let's say, for example, I mean, I know it kind of goes, it's not really what they were saying there, but sort of is. Like, what will we not tolerate? I mean, that's pretty much the same thing, right? I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, our deal
In
breaker
the
is anybody in the office should not be doing an estimate. It should be the salesperson. You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
like
yeah,
that is, or so yeah, I think that's a strong thought process. I won't do this, like having that list. I think that's from what I understand. And when I was talking to my GM about it, I said, when we have our next quarterly meeting with you, the division manager and the ops manager and whoever else is there, we need to all write like 3 non-compromising things that we won't tolerate. Everybody should do that, because originally it was like, let's just have 3. But then while I was on my 4-hour walk, that's what we call that meeting, 4-mile meeting is what we call it, because we go for a 4-mile walk try to do it every day. And sometimes I do it twice in a row because I'll talk with another person and we'll do that 4-mile meeting to burn my calories. You know what I mean? So I was like, like, what are 3 things? She's like, give me an example. And I was like, well, I didn't really give it too much thought, but like, let's say we tell people they cannot come in before 7 a.m. Like, that's it. Like, you cannot, like, that's one of those things that we will not tolerate. You can't come in earlier than 7. I know that's silly, but I just wanted to give her an idea. And then anyway, so while we were talking, she was kind of like, yeah, I think that we shouldn't do that either, whatever it was that we talked about. So that's when I got to thinking, you know what, we should all have our own, because, somebody might not agree with mine, but you might have one that you don't want to tolerate. So let's all come up with 3 ourselves. So that's going to be on the next meeting. 3 things each that we're not going to, non-negotiables. That's what it's called. 3
yeah.
non-negotiables.
I had a problem with one of the guys I had that we'd start at say 7 in the summer or 7:30. He'd get here and sit in the lot at like 6 and try to get paid an extra hour. And I fought him on it. Like, he'd say, "Oh, I'm sharpening blades and blah blah." I'm like, I don't. You can sit here and you can sleep here. I don't care, but you're not getting paid to just be on my property.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually a real thing. People like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, dude.
I mean, if you do show up 30 minutes every day, that's what. 3 extra
and when you got like 15 people that come in 30 minutes early, I mean, by the time they leave, you're already shelling out like $300. You know what I mean? When you count like breaks, that's another thing. Just on breaks, I used to, because like, you're probably going to fall into this. It's kind of good to like have rules early, like early when you have like really little employees, but not to be so tough that they leave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want them. Because I would like let people get away with so much. I would give them so much when I was first trying to build it, because I just wanted people to be reliable and I wanted them to have fun and like coming to work. But when you got like 30 people, then it's like, damn it, you made what promise that to these guys? Like, damn, I did, so you got to be careful. But one of the things that I would always do when I first started was like, you don't need to clock out for breaks. Like, that was my thing. I don't care. Like, I was basically growing my business alongside these 2 other friends that I have that are still really good friends of mine. And they had these hardline rules like, dude, you need to clock out. They need to clock out for breaks. And I'm like, look, my guys are freaking, they love my business. They freaking, we're killing it. And it's because I do things like that. So, and I don't mind it. But then in 2020, I don't know. One of those guys that I hang with was like, dude, please just write down how much you're spending on lunch, just for you to know. And I was like, okay. So me and Rachel got together and we started doing the numbers, and it was like $350 a day that we were paying just because they weren't clocking out for lunch. And then we were like, man, with that $350 a day, like, think of all that money that we could be saving to buy them, stuff. We could use that money to like fill up the fridge, whatever. I mean, we just have so much money. So that really opened my eyes when I saw that numbers. And we made some changes like that year or the next year, and now pretty much if you're not budget hour, which now everybody's almost everybody's on budget hour, so it doesn't really matter. But a lot of the garden guys that aren't, they have to clock out, and we're pretty buggers about it too. But it's something you got to be mindful, right? It's like 2 days go by, and then you notice they didn't clock out on Monday. It's like, what are you gonna do? So we do look at the GPS, and be like, hey, it looks like you had lunch for like an hour on Monday. Is that right? And they're like, oh yeah, I thought I clocked out. It's like, okay, well, we're clocking you out at 12 to 2 because that's or whatever time, because that's when it looked like you were, still at lunch. It's still kind of like one of those things, but the budget hours really help that a lot because they know that they're losing money if they're taking too long on break. But not everybody has been on budget hours. But I think next year with this one-man crew, they're still not going to be on budget hours, but they still need to clock out. So,
do you have a number goal like 4 million for next year? Or
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Was it 3 this year?
Yeah, 3 was my goal this year, and I feel like because we're going to go with like the smaller crews for one-man crews, but we're going to be making more money, but their time spent on their properties, I just feel like, maybe 2.5 will be good. We're at 2.2 right now. And I know that seems like a small goal, but I just feel like if we hit our numbers the way we want, we'll be so profitable at 2.5. It will be profitable the more we make, but I think I was a little too ambitious last year for this 2023 year. And I just hired too many office staff that ate our profits. I did too much investing in the sprinkler division. And so I just want to focus on profit more this year. So I'm kind of just focused on, I think 2.5 will be a good, for sure we have to hit 3 mil, obviously big hairy one. What about you?
What did you hit your first year in business? Do you remember?
Yeah, like 250 or no. So I have what I call 3 first years. Because the first year was I didn't even know I had a business kind of thing. It's kind of like, oh, the phone rang. I'm going to go out, do a quote. I'll do your leaf cleanups or whatever, shrub pruning or whatever. Make some money on the side. But I did register the business day one before I even did it for my first yard. But I still don't really count that. But if you did, I think I did 90 that year. You know what I mean? And then I think the next year was 250. And that's when I was oh, wow.
Did you have anybody that year you did 250 or
Yeah. That was, I had 4 guys. Because one of those early years, and I don't know if it was the second year or the third. So that's why I don't know, I kind of hazy on which one that was. But I had a big water park that I got. I got the town water park that had a lot of grass. And so I needed a bunch of people. And so basically I staffed up for that property because it was weekly and it required if I remember right, 4 of us. And we had to get it done by 9 o'clock, I think. Because that's when people started coming in the summertime. So I just threw everything at it. And because I had those guys, I felt like, you know what, I need to keep them busy. So we were going 3-man crews, you know what I mean? 2-man crews for sure, 3-man crews. We had, we were driving so far of the, route density didn't even know about that, at the time. I was just like, yeah, we'll do it. So I think we had at one point a route that we had 10 properties and we had 3 guys doing them, but they were big properties. We're in that area now because we live close. Our shop is really close to it, but and I just didn't know. I was like, oh, that's what we need to do. We had a big 48-inch mower, and it still took us like, full shift to do 10 houses. But then I went, somebody told me about route density and it just clicked. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So I did the math, and after like paying everybody, paying for gas, and let's say a $200 repair every week for whatever problems happen, I was literally taking home $118 or something like that at the end of the week. And I was like, I'd rather not do that than make $100 in the whole week. So that's when I went to just the city that I was in, which was Provo and Orem. We were just doing those two cities, and we went from doing 10 houses a day to 20. You know what I mean? And it was like, holy crap. And because we were just in that little area, like the trucks we had, at the time it was only like 2 or 3 trucks, but people could see us a lot, and we were just in that area. So we grew pretty big because of that. So
Where'd you come up with your name, Long Thumbs?
Green Thumbs was taken.
Oh.
So I was like, yeah, I want to be Green Thumbs. And I was all ready, and I went and registered it, and it was taken. And I was like, oh, man. And at the time I was like, I thought I knew marketing, online marketing. I didn't really know, but I kind of dabbled in it a little bit with restaurants that I would work at and try and get, set up the Google My Business stuff. Back then it was like 2009 it was 2010 when I started Lawn Thumbs. So I had been trying to do stuff like online around that time. So I kind of thought, oh, that's what I'm going to do on my spare time, So I knew that we had to come up with a name that people could find it online. That's kind of what I was thinking. So I was like, what's a name that if somebody saw it, they would think, oh, they probably do that in my yard, because I knew I wanted to do everything, And so that's when I came up with Lawn Thumbs, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna do that. So that was basically an online SEO kind of strategy name I came up with. And then it was like I went to my first customer's house that was paying me a check with that name, and she didn't understand what I was saying. She thought I was saying long, like long thumb, and I'm like, no, it's Lawn Thumbs, and she's like, and then I realized, man, this was kind of a bad name. Like I should have came up with something like my name or something. You know what I mean? Like, but
Long Thumbs.
so I remember thinking like I made a mistake when I first was dealing with that one customer, and she's trying to write me a check but doesn't know how to say my name. So I'm like, I was really considering like changing it right then and there, like that day. But then I thought, I think I kind of like the name, but she just didn't understand me. But maybe that's a problem. It actually was a problem. Like people were calling it long, like LONG, forever. And I don't know, like everybody got better at saying it because I don't ever hear that anymore. But I used to hear that all the time when I first started.
That's
Yeah, so it was
Long
crazy.
Thumbs.
Yeah, it's like what? But yeah, so that's kind of how I came up with the name. How about you? Because it has nothing to do with your name, right?
Griff. It's Griff Lawn and Landscape, and my last name's Griffith.
Oh, okay.
Everybody called me Griff.
Gotcha.
And everybody around here calls me Griff and know me as Griff. So like I don't know, because when I used to work for a different company, everybody said, "Oh, Griff will come and do this or rip this out or on the side and stuff." So I was like, "Screw it! Everybody already knows me by it." And I wanted something like, I don't know, like quality cut or like something like that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I wanted something very short, simple, and something kind of unique and something that like my name's Nico, obviously, but people remember me as Griff more than remember me as Nico, which is weird because Nico's a pretty unique name
Yeah,
that you
totally.
remember.
No,
So I was
I
like,
like the name. I like Griff
yeah,
Lawn Care. Or what's the full name?
technically it's Griff Lawn Care, but like on my trucks, it's Griff Lawn and Landscaping.
Okay.
Lawn
Yeah,
and
I like the name Griff as a lawn care company. It's just easy to remember. It's a good
Yeah.
name. It's cool. It sounds cool. I like cool. By the way, I just want to say good morning to John. And Walter said, he's thinking of putting a wall clock on the shop. And I did that, and it worked great. Not sure. The reason why I guess kind of went away from that is that people, when they started, more and more people started learning how to use the app, to get to jobs a little bit better. So they just, once you clock in on there, it's the same thing. And I think that kind of started taking over. But I had a wall clock. I still have one for like the very new guys, because they're always so like paranoid that they're not getting clocked in. New guys, you know what I mean? And so I have the wall clock just basically for anybody that's new, so they can for sure clock in. And I say, look, if the guy clocked you in the truck, that's great. But if you want to know for sure, you can do it on the clocks. And that really solved a lot of problems. Service Autopilot has a wall clock feature that if you go on mobile, you can click this wall clock feature, and it's just like a time clock that you just, hold on the wall kind of thing. And they type in their, like, in our case, we do the last 4 digits of their social. So that way everybody, if we forget what it is, we say, it's your last 4. And they go, oh, okay. And they do it. So yeah, that works pretty good. And I also thought of like changing the division names. So like, I was going to have like Lawn Thumbs Garden Service Division. Like that was the name, that was going to be the name of the gardening. But then, so my very first logo pretty much is the same logo that I have here. Except it also had the words underneath that just was part of the logo. So I couldn't take it off, that said garden services. So I had to put that on everything. So we had that on our shirts, and we still do. Like there's some shirts that I still have like that logo, because I still have the logo, and I like that. Like it's like, I don't see it anymore as like, oh, that was the name of the division. I see it now like, yeah, we also do garden services, because that's something people want to like. I feel like people should know that, because we had customers that have been our customers for like 2 years and didn't even know that we prune shrubs. So I started putting that on our shirts just so people can kind of see it. But we've taken that out since. Yeah. How about you? So what logo do you have?
I have it's like this kind of. I colored on this, but it's like this G on this mouse pad. But I went away from it because I thought in my head, I'm like, okay, for the first couple of years I wrap my vehicles, nobody's gonna know what the hell that G means if I just have that. So I just put type everything like
I see
water, landscape in black and white, and then
I'm on your website.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I think I'm not known enough to just have a logo. So
it'll be pretty interesting. Like, so the name, that griff could be your logo. Like it's your logo, right? I mean, or the G. But I had my first logo was like this weird. It was cool. It was like like the Earth, circle Earth, and there was 2 guys trimming facing each other with a trimmer. And then it said, Lawn Thumbs on it in the circle, like around the circle. I kind of liked it. But I kind of thought, I don't know, it's a little weird. So I came across like this person that was helping me like make like business cards. He was like, hey, I do logos, and I see you got one, but how about I try and make one for you, another one, just so you can see it. And he's like, I go, yeah. He goes, what do you not want to see on this logo? Like, what do you not want to see? And I was like, I don't want to see a thumb, because everyone I had before I had that first logo made would put a thumb, like with a fingerprint. Like you could see the fingerprint really good on, like everybody was doing that. And I was like, I don't like that. Anyway, so I said, I don't want to see a thumb. He's like, all right, that's like my only requirement. I don't want to see a thumb. And then he gives me this logo, and I was like, holy crap, that's perfect. So then I was like, yeah, I like it. So we'll do it. So I kept it.
The same one that's on your YouTube, like your
Yeah. You
know what I like of yours are your little like emote things that are your banner. like the little shovel, wheelbarrow,
Oh
Christmas.
yeah.
Those are cool.
Oh yeah. That's cool. So I used to have those on my website, and you click on the leaf, and it would take you to leaf cleanup. But I changed it to like a little character. It's supposed to be me, which I still to this day I'm like, dude, that does not look like me. Like I don't even like not even close. But everybody I asked are like, yeah, it looks like you. I'm like, bullshit. It's like, and it's funny because the people I gave that animation to, um, first of all, I should have gave my son's picture because he's way more youthful, but he looks just like me. But he's like super young. Obviously, he's 16, and so I should have gave him a picture of him, and I think that would have closely resembled me. Still, I could have still been proud and say that's me. But I gave him like I thought was a good picture of myself, and then they give me that, and I'm like, damn it, I don't like it. So we got Jeff saying, how's it going? What's up, man? Eden just woke up. We got snow last couple of days. We done for the year. Yeah, we're not gonna be done for the year. We're got people on salary right now, and well, starting Monday, which kind of is like making me have a minor heart attack because we're paying people hourly, but we're gonna start. We gotta pay them from what we did this week, which was not very much. And I got to take some money from the snow fund to pay them, which was set aside just for their salaries. And so it's kind of frustrating, but we had everybody sign contracts this year. So they know exactly when the pay for snow starts and when it ends. Like when it ends, that's it. It's going to be back to hourly after that. If there's no work, sorry, it sucks for everybody. It'll suck for me too. If the companies could lose you because you don't want to wait till the sun comes out. But after March 3rd, we're done with salary for the winter. So yeah, it's been a little tough because we've had 3 storms already this week. No, two. One yesterday, one today, and then one like Monday. But so and the thing is, they've been sucky storms, so it's like we haven't even been making much money on the plow jobs. You know what I mean? So that's the part that's like killing us. But whatever. It's the first week, and it'll be the only one we're doing that. After this week, it'll go to salary, which we have money set aside for that, and we will start. So, and when that's and everybody on their contract, it says, "Hey, man, we're going to be It doesn't say that. It basically says that during these months, December to March, December 4th to March 3rd, or something like that, if we need you to do anything, it's part of the salary. So if you got to take down Christmas lights, if you got to do leaves, if you got to do garden cleanups, whatever, you got to do it. We did tell them as we're having them sign these contracts that we're going to try not to abuse those hours. You know what I mean? Like if we know it's going to storm that week, we're going to lay off on those other type jobs. But it is what it is. Like that's what you're signing up for. So hopefully that works out good. Listening to you guys while plowing. Finally got enough snow to plow in Provo. Oh, are you in Provo, CC? Maybe I know this. Yeah. And if that's true, man, we should refer work to each other. Which I think I do know that you're in. I probably know who you are. I just forgot the name of the company, but yeah.
What do you in the winter? Do you focus a lot on, obviously like next year and stuff? But do you do anything like more social media? Like, do you get in like a YouTube mode in the winter when there's not much like actual work going on? Like
No, not really. Not really. Yeah, there's just not much going on. So I know. Yeah, no, social media, I don't. I want to start pushing more snow stuff. I want to have a lot more snow like content so that we're a real, because it's going to be 3 months of snow clearing, right? So like, I want to be a snow company. You know what I mean? And so we need to get our like get that out there. I think we've been doing pretty good right now with that. So, but no, we kind of get in the mindset of like numbers, pricing, figuring out what our man-hour rate should be. Maybe how we're going to change some services like we did with gardens. We've been doing that quite a bit. We've had me, Rachel, and Daisha in the office like for pretty much a month of November, just trying to figure that out, replaying in our heads and even on paper, like what's it going to look like? We got one guy doing 4 or 5 properties a day. What does that look like? They start at this time, they clock out at this time, they do a break. What's it look like? So we've been doing that for quite a bit. I've been going to like these conferences. I've been gone for like a full week in November. Just trying to take in inspiration. And when I got here, I would say implemented a lot more things than I ever have coming back from conferences, because I had this focus of like, how are we going to make our money better next year? You know what I mean? Like that was my focus. So I got some good, like, because with numbers, it's not really too much creativeness that can happen, right? It's like, it is what it is. You want to make profit or you don't. So I got some good information from people like, this is what we do. It's like, oh, I could do that too. So we've been doing that. We're going to try something really crazy this year. I don't know if anybody does that or few, but we are going to go no credit cards next year. We're going to go, so on interest alone, we spend like $25,000 on interest, if you can believe that. And I know everybody says, oh, it's because you need to pay off your credit cards. Well, it's kind of easier said than done. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna. So what I did yesterday was I went to the bank and I got 3 new checking accounts that the people that spend money, which is my ops manager, the garden manager or division manager, she buys materials for all the projects, and the office manager. So I've got them 3 credit cards, 3 debit accounts, checking accounts within my company's account, and they're going to be able to log in and keep track of how much money they have to spend. So that's going to be kind of interesting. I'm really excited for that because I think it's going to be, and we even gave the division manager her own like merchant account, so that when customers sign up for a job, they have to pay for the materials through a separate merchant account. So she'll send them an invoice that, for all they know, it comes directly from any other Lawn Thumbs merchant account. But when they pay that bill with just materials, it will go into her account. So I'm really excited about that, because that way the material money will never, hopefully, I know it'll still happen, but we'll try to avoid having that money mix in with the revenue. That sometimes it fools you to think that that's your money to buy whatever you want, because you'll get like, $3,000 deposit, and it's like, oh, cool, like I can buy that gas tank for 100 gallons of gas now. It's like, so we're going to keep that separate. So I think that should help. You know what I mean? It's something new. Eden uses debit cards only. Business has credit cards, but don't use them. Yeah, that savings, like I'm all about savings this next year. I just want to be as like efficient with money as possible. I think we have a great plan with the sprinkler materials. We never have to really spend a lot of money on materials again for that won't get paid back by the customer immediately. So I'm really excited about that. That's the other thing we're working on. We basically read the whole Service Titan manual for inventory with my warehouse manager. So me and her sat there and read the whole 34 pages of it. So we can try and make sure that we have no excuse why the guys aren't entering in everything they're supposed to, and the customers. So I don't know. That's part of the other things we do in the wintertime. As far as numbers, we look at those kind of things too.
Hey, give me 1 minute. I got to tell this guy where to go quick.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, good morning, CC. Sorry, guys, I can't see like very well for some reason. My eyes this morning, like woke up really like hazy. So I'm wearing my glasses that are probably like 2 years old. So I don't know if I could see really good, but if credit cards is used, it gets paid same month, zero interest. Yeah, I mean that's the goal. It just for some reason with me, it just seems to be a battle that I'm always constantly fighting. So instead of so I'm going to try and fix that by changing things up a little bit, getting those cards paid off, and then we'll see what happens. But I know I've got like a lot of guys that will probably still have a company credit card for like a lot of the man-hour rate workers, so to buy gas and things like that. We have gas at the shop that we fill up every week, and then we fill up their truck. So they may not need to, but you know how it is. Some of the guys might still require going to the dump. So that's another thing. I need to set up an account at the green waste place so that my guys can just go through and then we pay a monthly bill. I'm going to try and set that up. I have the application already. I just need to fill it out, and we'll see how that works. Sorry, I can't see very well. I've done pretty good this year. Ended up paying some bills off. Good, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the thing. This year was like, I knew I saw the ending of the year was coming, and normally that's when I have like my moments where I'm like, well, if we end the year and at least I did this, I'll be happy. I'll be really happy. I mean, there are some years where I'm like really happy because I look at the profit account and it's like, we made it. It's great. Everything's great. But there are some years like this year where I was still paying the sprinkler inventory stuff. And it was like, man, if I could just pay that off before the year's over, at least I did that and I could feel good about myself. So then I did that, and there were still like 2 months left in the year. So I was like, all right, I did that. What's the other pain points I'm seeing? Oh, you know what? We better have enough money for the snow workers. If we can at least have that, I'll be happy. And we have that barely by the skin of our teeth. We did it. So I did that. The only other thing that I'm a little kind of like upset at myself for is there's credit cards that have a lot that are not quite maxed out, but pretty damn close. You know what I mean? Like, might as well say we have a few cards that are maxed out, and we're just gonna have to pay the interest on that through the winter. And those are about $800 a month of just interest. So, and there's 3 of them. So that's one of those things that just got to do, but nothing new to me. I've paid interest on credit cards for a long time, but this next year we're going to try and clean them up, pay them off, and save that interest, so that we all make more money in the office. That's what I want, because we pay the man-hour workers great. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's great. If we can pay them more, we will, which we will. If they hit their budget hours or pass it, do better, they'll get paid more. But the office staff doesn't really get that opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, we're just kind of like, this is how much I make, and that's it. When times are bad, I really have to stick to it. Like this year, when times are good, I can make my percentage, my owner's pay percentage on top of my wage. So that's kind of like what my goal is for next year.
What do you, what was I going to say? What do you do when if 2 guys were to call out on your mowing route, are you like crazy behind, or
When we have what?
like 2 one-man guys or one-man crews? Have you ever had like 2 guys call out the same day? Let's say it rains the next day.
No.
How long does that take you to catch back up?
No. So normally, you'll be surprised when you got one-man crews how much they can actually do. They get better and better and better to where it's like, I don't know, it's just mind-blowing how they can get through houses. So sometimes we've had guys call off, and we gave that whole route to one person, and they finished their route and the other one. So, and there are times where like it gets pretty late in the day. So we'll try and organize. We won't just say, "Oh, I'm going to give this one guy every job from that other guy." Like if he's the closest one and that's the only one that makes sense, we will do that. And then say, just get as far as you can. You know what I mean? And then the people that are still left over might get an email and say, "Hey, we weren't able to get to your house today. We'll do it tomorrow." But a lot of times, because we have 7 Mo guys, they're pretty close together, so we can split up like 10 to 12 to 15 houses between like 4 guys because they're all kind of in the same area, even though they're not. You know what I mean? So it's really easy to split them up. So that's what we've done, but we haven't had to like it doesn't happen a lot because that's money on the table. Just like if it's raining for us and we can't mow that, we still want to do it tomorrow or Friday because it's money on the table. That's the same mindset with these Mo guys because they're like, that's my money. So they'll ask, can I do it tomorrow? And it's like, no, that's one of our non-negotiables. Like, if you miss that day, we try to get those jobs done. We try and get them done no matter what. And it's always been that way. It's never been any different. So right from the start, we went over it with them, and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. It has to get done that day. So the other guys love it because they'll make more money. So I don't know. I feel like I've heard other companies say their guys hate it when they get now. And I will tell you that the other Mo guys like that are doing these other houses, they do not care about the quality as much as they did on their properties. Like that's the thing I've been fighting, and we're still fighting. And Jose thinks he's going to fix that next year. I don't know how, but that is a thing that does happen. So the guys that get their lawns back the next week are like, dude, are you serious? Like they'll take pictures and they'll basically rat each other out. They do it every freaking time, dude. It's like, look at this fence line. They didn't even trim it. It's like, well, you missed the day. What the hell, So, I mean, we do need to do better with quality with that because that is a big issue. That is something that comes up quite a bit. But, the guy just does his lawn again and he fixes it back up. We get very little complaints from customers. It's more of like the worker notices that somebody did his property and didn't do it good like him. Like they notice that more than a customer will notice. He didn't trim by the new tree that was planted or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So I know you probably have to go. It's 8:01. So thanks for stopping in.
You got to go?
No, you. Do you?
No, I got a little bit of time.
Okay.
He's gonna do some yard work. It's kind of like snowy still, so we can't be on the yards right now. It's really wet.
Okay. Well,
And
cool. Yeah, I can stick around. Nobody's really. The only issue I've had so far this morning is somebody saying that before the contracts came out, they thought their hours were going to be a little different, and then now all of a sudden they think it's a little different. So, but he's finishing his list today, but he wants to talk to me about the future. So that's the good thing about contracts. Like, dude, that's the contract. Like, okay, I may have said something before, but I don't even remember. But this is written. It's like this is it. So anyway.
Are you going to implement your like consulting? I know you're talking about that. You guys want to do like
yeah.
Are you close to
we're so busy. We're still so busy trying to figure out the winter thing. Make sure that we're getting through the winter, paying all the guys all winter, paying bills. Trying to get as many accounts as we can. We have more accounts this year than we have last year, for sure. And the season's just starting, really. So I think we're going to get more. And so we're just figuring that stuff out. But I definitely want to. My plan is to change this YouTube channel name to something else. I don't know what it should be. And then doing a YouTube channel specifically for my customers. And that should be Lawn Thumb's name. And that's kind of what I want to do, because with that, I want to give like practical advice to the customers about things, or like make kind of like about the service. Like, I don't talk about, hey, we show up to a property, we edge your property first, then we trim everything and then we mow it. And then you know what I mean? Or then we blow the debris onto the grass and then we mow it. Like, I don't ever talk about that kind of stuff on this channel, but I want to talk about that to my customers. And so, and if I really do that, because I feel like I can do that a lot. I feel like I can get good at that because I feel like I already do that all day when a customer calls. Basically, I'll be doing calls, but on YouTube. And I want to get sponsors for that channel. I think I can get sponsors on that channel because I could say, hey, this is how you fix your sprinkler. Really easy to do. This is brought to you by, Sprinkler Supply Company here in the city. You know what I mean? And I have a pretty good relationship with a lot of the vendors who might want to give it a shot. I don't know. So I want to try that out. And then focus more on, like, keep the content pretty much the same, maybe better if I can somehow figure that out for this channel, but it not be like confusing for the customer. It's like if a customer like wants to know more about my company, they go to my YouTube and they're hearing me listen about a customer complaint. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably not the best thing, So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Do you get a lot of I get a lot of people that call me in my city and say, I saw your video on YouTube and can you come give me an estimate? Not a lot. I won't say a lot, but
Yeah.
no. 10 or 15 people that called me off YouTube.
Yeah, no, from all these years I've been doing this, I mean, I have had a handful of customers that say, oh, I follow you on YouTube or whatever. And I'm like thinking, it's just so weird to hear. I'm like, really? Sorry.
Yeah,
it wasn't meant for you,
Yeah.
So I do get that. But no, that only happened probably like 3 times that I can remember. But I feel like if it happened with these customers, probably other ones have too. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Nobody really brings it up. I mean, nobody's ever had an issue. The one customer that mentioned it to me, I was doing work at her house, and I'm pretty sure she knew that was her house because it was like right after that she said that to me, and I didn't bring up, because I forget which house I was at or whatever. But then I thought about it. I was like, oh, I think she knew that was her house, but I try not to show houses. I show just the gardens and the yards. I try to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Somebody asked something.
Let's see. Eden, I have to be careful what I say on YouTube vids. My competition archives my videos or watches my videos. Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know. I got a comment the other day that, why do I give out information? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's better that people do things not similar, but like kind of in the same stratosphere or same pricing so that it's not so off. You know what I mean? It's like,
I think people like you that give numbers and stuff, it helps elevate like the whole industry, so everybody goes up. Everybody raises the prices.
That's what I think. I mean, I get there's a little competitive edge, like, I always want, but like, and I noticed that too with Fernando leaving. It's like, well, he knows, like, I feel like if anybody like has a shot, it's him. He has a couple things going for him. He's the hardest worker I've ever seen in my life. I mean, for sure, he's a harder labor worker than I was when I was out there all the time. He's smart about money. Like, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that because I think customers would just like to see that mower. I think they'll just hire me because they see that mower. Like, so I was kind of stupid with money. But there is some truth to that as well. You know what I mean? But also he's really smart with that. He knows where to get everything fixed. He knows where to buy all the supplies, all things that I had to figure out on my own and learn and mess up and how to charge. And he knows our prices. So, I mean, I feel like if anybody has a shot, it's him for sure. Because he just kind of was like really knew everything about this business. But we'll see, right? I mean, what do you think? So what do you know how hard it is, right? I mean, it's freaking hard. I know it's hard, and and I say there's a few, like, this is a business where it's easy to get into, but it's kind of like an illusion of how easy it is. Um, but I do know there are people that are going to make it, right? Obviously, like, who would have thought I made it? But I mean, I did. Considering where I'm at and what's kind of like most people that have made it, I feel like I'm kind of in that ballpark. Um, and Fernando certainly thinks I am. You know what I mean? So and I think there are a few people that can make it. And you don't want to be that person that says, like, hell, he'll never make it, because you know what I mean. Like, you never know. You literally never know. But I think it is kind of like an illusion to think it's really easy, just because all you need is like a pair of loppers, a trimmer, a hedge trimmer, and a mower, and you're pretty much good to go. But you got to have your phone ringing. That's the hardest part, and so that's the part that people don't get, and they never hear about. It's like, if as talented as somebody could be, if the phone doesn't ring, or they don't get enough work, they can't really do more than what they can do. Like, if my phone didn't ring and I just went off referrals, I could keep myself busy for probably a long time, but I could never grow more than that. And I think some people need more than that. You can't ever, like, first time you can't afford to pay somebody, they're gone. And then it's like, and then from there you start, hiring whoever you can. It's just hard, like everything about it. So let's see, Eden. I've seen so many come and go. A few make it, and some seem to be based on work ethic. Sorry if I'm misreading your words. I can't see too good today. Either you hustle or you go away. Yeah, but the thing is, even people that hustle, man, it's like you got this long winter too, which is like crazy for any business, right? Like, think about it. Like, say you're really good at, like, making pizzas, and you're pretty dang good at it, but 3 months out of the year, there's a pizza ban where you can't, anybody, the only people that can eat pizza have to pay, $100 a slice, like, and that's your only customer base.
Yeah, you only sell like garlic bread instead of
Yeah,
pizza and garlic bread.
exactly. Yeah, totally. You can only sell like some weird, like that Greek salad that a lot of pizza places have.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can sell, and and it's hard. Like, dude, that's so long. But I know that, like, business owners like me, I love that time, right? Because that's when you can sit down and plan and think about things, and hopefully you saved up enough to get you through those 3 months or four. But you can't pay anybody. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's interesting. But my point is, I gave a lot of information to somebody, and we'll see if he can take that and go with it. I do have some things I did talk to him about that he can't take any of my employees. If they do, like, that employee will no longer be allowed here ever again. And I basically will cut communication off with Fernando and my equipment. Like, don't ask me to use my equipment. And not only that, it's like, I have good friends that have, like, pretty good businesses that have asked me if they can borrow my, like, a grandstand, and I've said no. Like, I just won't. Like, I don't want my equipment to get damaged, and we weren't making any money off of it. You know what I mean? Or even if they did pay me to use it, which I've had people ask me to do, and I still won't do it because I just don't trust it. Like, if I get a grandstand that's broke back to me, I'd be so hurt and pissed that I just wouldn't want to deal with that.
Because, like everybody else, like a push more he started with, and nobody would borrow. I didn't ask anybody to borrow anything because I kind of feel like that's not the thing to do. But it's also, I always think, I'm like, I struggled to find out how to get a commercial account, or my first year I plowed commercial lots. I didn't have a plow truck. It's like I struggle. You can struggle through it if you really want to do this.
Yeah,
You got to figure
exactly.
it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's part of the thing too. It's like, so yeah. I mean, And
Which
I've already, I've already had to say no of a couple of things that probably seem simple, but to me, it's like, no, man, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I've already had that happen like a couple of times.
yeah, I've had guys
And
ask, can I park a trailer at your warehouse? I'm like, no, as I went and sourced this and I pay for it
yeah,
and my lot. I'm
yeah,
like, no, it's not a storage parking lot.
yeah.
Like,
The one thing
go get your own.
I did let is like when I have a good employee, like that's really good, I kind of make leeways for that. You know what I mean? I had really good employee that told me the struggle, and I know the situation because I've actually worked with somebody uh, from his world, um, and I know what the guy was dealing with. So I let him park his car at my shop because he just couldn't have like his second car at where he lived, and I let him park it here. And we found a place for it, and it was fine. It was out of the way. But after a few months, and this guy was still good the whole year. He actually just left for the winter. Um, and I took a picture with him in case I never see him again because I'm gonna miss the guy if he never comes back. But I was thinking like, damn it, I could actually use that spot for like something in my business. Like I could put my my truck beds that we take apart right there. Like instead of a car, I could put that there. And so I kind of had some like I was like upset, not upset, but like just disappointed that I didn't do that and I'm letting him take this space. But like I said, you got really good employees, you kind of let them slide with things. But yeah, I wouldn't let somebody that's going to go off on their own to do something like that. I even had other companies ask me if they can pay me to dump their grass here, and I
Oh,
still said no. you know, so I yes, I give out a lot of information, but I don't give away assets. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But yeah,
do you have a lot of buddies around you that own lawn care companies, like local that you know?
well, pretty much. I mean, all the people that I hang out with, like after work kind of stuff, like once every 3 months or once a month kind of thing, and play cards or something. They're all lawn care guys, you know. And my buddy that sets those up, he just likes to have constant communication with people, mainly because if they want to sell, like he's in that circle, he knows like he can talk to them about buying them and stuff. And I think that's a great idea, and that's kind of why I go to those things too. I get contacts, referrals, and just meeting people that do this is just it's just better to be around people and talk about, hey, do you have customers that do this while you're playing cards or something, rather than, oh, you're in finance. Okay, cool. Cool. I may need to hire you someday, but I don't know. It's like it's just a different, you know, way to spend the night, but evening. But um yeah, so and I'm just pretty open with people, you know. I mean, I don't I, I don't mind talking about stuff like this all day, you know. And I can do it all day. So, because I learn things, you know.
Are you one of the bigger companies in your market?
For residential, I think I think there are bigger companies than me, but they do commercial, and so it's a little different. But yeah, as far as residential, I don't really see anybody bigger than me that I know of. You know, there's been some companies that I see here still that have like really big shops, but I rarely see them anywhere. Like I don't know what they do, but I know they do have like trucks and trailers around town, but I don't know how big they are. You know what I mean? Um, nothing that's like, oh, there's that company again, like mine. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah. So yeah, and we can be a lot bigger too if we get commercial account, which is what we're going to start doing. I think that's our next frontier is commercial. Um, so we did a bid. I think I told you it was $1 million, and we didn't get it. But that really opened my eyes to how fast you can scale if we did commercial. You know what I mean? The reason why we want commercial is for the 12-month like payments. We want any commercial we get is going to be 12 months rolling. So we're going to check and divide it out every month. So we did get one for next year, but it's kind of a small one. I think we'll be getting like $2,000 a month, which is great. So if we can build on that, that could get us through the winters in the future. So like right now, the plan is all prepays for snow removal go to the workers. And then the second part of the winter fund is saving like 3% every single day for the whole year. And that will pay for all the office staff, which I've done in the past, but I couldn't do it this year. And then the third thing will be if we get those commercial accounts and we get that money in the winter that's automatic. Between those three things, I think and the plowing, obviously, like the jobs that we get from plowing those storms, we're going to do well too. So we're headed in the right direction with the snow clearing, with getting paid. It's just kind of been a long, slow process.
If you get bigger commercials, are you going to go to like 2-man crews for those commercial stuff?
We've already kind of started going to 2-man crews like right now. So 2 of the 10 guys that are working today are 2-man crews.
Or I mean for mowing.
Oh, for mowing. Yes. So we budgeted out so that $1 million contract we had, we figure we can get a 2-man crew or 2 men. We don't really know, but for sure we budgeted as if there's 2 guys in there working 40 hours a week, and it would have been perfect for the mowing. So yeah, for the commercial accounts, we would do the 2-man crews. At least that was the plan with that one those properties that we bid on, because it was a lot of them and they were pretty big. So definitely somebody would have to trim kind of the whole time. That kind of thing. Eden, we're about 25% commercial and 75% residential. Works for me. Yeah. The thing is, like, our commercial, like, if you really count, like, we have restaurants that are technically commercial, but we don't count them as a commercial account because they just get billed just like any other customer kind of thing. So, yeah, the commercial we're going to call commercial are the ones that are probably bigger than a regular residential type scenario. But, and I'm not saying you don't have that. You probably, I don't know, but that's what we're going to call commercial, is something that's bigger than the normal residential, but 12-month billing. And the thing is, I know that we can do that because when we talked to that big $1 million project, we told them that we'd want to do 12 months, and they said that's great. One of their options is doing a 12-month or getting paid every month and just finish out every month, or you can roll it out into 12 months. And that's what I want to do. So I figure if that worked with that first one we were trying to do, that I think it's probably a normal thing. And then the one we won already, that I don't know what the total is, but it was $2,000 a month. So it's not that much. They're doing 12-month for us too. So yeah, I kind of feel like that's going to be the next step for us with that. And we're also going to be we're going to go into sprinkler installation next year. We do repairs only right now.
Did you ever offer installations and got away from it, or you just always?
No, we never offered it, but we did it if like we were slow, and my sprinkler guys pretty much begged to do it. Hey, you want to read this next one to see kind of like how it would go if you read it?
Let me see. We have several commercial properties between 1 and 2 acres of lawn, nothing super huge.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, so go ahead. What do your commercials look like, Nico?
I have so like what you're saying, like technically commercial, I have a lot there. My residential routes are like small churches or banks. Okay. But the time wise is like the same, but we do have a couple factories that take like a good 8-hour day with 2 guys. Just like 3 of those, and we have a couple HOAs that take like a half a day with 2 guys, stuff like that. But I'm probably like 50-50.
Do you get paid every week or every month, or how do you get paid with those?
I do the 12-month contract with it's just so much per month, say 4,500 a month. And the bad thing with
Nice.
that is that which it's good and bad, but on those factories, they really don't care what the outside looks like, to be honest. Like I always try to upsell them on like more like I call it like enhancement work, like
Yeah.
gardening stuff, tree trimming, but that's a bad like they're good for mowing, but they do not give a fuck what the outside looks like besides if the grass is cut.
So
Like they
there's
don't
no
even want
upselling,
application. Yeah.
which could be a good thing though. Yeah, like you say. I mean, yeah, with those, they don't ever want anything. I don't really have any customers like that, so I don't really know. Like, but I know that that's what we're going to get into. That big job that we bid, they pretty much were saying that to me without actually saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell you. We don't really care what it looks like. We just want to spend the least amount as possible for the shareholders. That's basically what he was saying. He's like, the shareholders are more worried about the rentals than the outside, what the roses look like. So basically, what he was telling me was like, just just do it really quick. So that's kind of new things that we're gonna have to learn because we gave him a bid, which we lost because we're so like focused on like how good we are with garden cleanup and shrub pruning and that kind of thing. Whereas we gotta like tone it back and be like I have to tell. Sorry, I need to plug in my phone or else it's gonna die. All right, we'll see. Hopefully it'll do good now. So it's like I've got to tell my garden manager. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
breaking in and out. Like, oh, maybe it's just my headphones that are dying. But I guess like I got to tell my garden manager, hey, they don't care what it looks like. So like, forget everything we've talked about at this company and just blow it off for the blower. I don't know. I don't know. So we have to change our mindset a little bit. But some of the cool thing is with what I learned with that property was that they want you to add like policing the shrubs into the mowing price, which was something I never like thought about. You know what I mean? Because we just never did that. We never had the mow guys do anything as far as that. But if you add the price in there, which is what they wanted me to do, uh, that changes things a little bit. But still a new mindset that we have to like figure out because we could bid it wrong because we're not going to charge them for like full cleanups, but yet they're going to complain. They will
Yeah.
eventually. So I don't know. It's just something we just got to get into. But and I even need to learn like when the best time is to win these bids. So we were trying to get that bid in like it was October,
Mm.
and they had already made their decision for the next year. So this is like for the next year. You know what I mean? It's just like, dang.
Have you noticed? I don't know your like restaurant stuff that you do, but I got into like a couple thrift stores really early and churches, and now a lot of my commercial are thrift stores, churches, and then a lot of factories want us, which is like cool because they're a lot of yard and mowing stuff. Like I said, the enhancements aren't good, but I just get referrals to like other factories, other thrift stores. Like it's kind of nothing bad, but like a lower market, like a thrift store's
Yeah.
not gonna be like crazy. Um, they do want enhancements, and I've built relationships with them enough where I'm like, yeah, you guys need to put like this edging in because it looks like shit now, and you need to redo these. And but I do get a lot like I get so many churches that want it, and they obviously talk a lot or whatever, but I don't get a really variety of like I had like one oil change place that I do. Um, like other than that, it's like always another thrift store, another church.
Hmm,
Like churches are huge,
interesting.
which I
Yeah,
didn't really
church
think
could be
that
good.
yeah owners would talk that much, but it's like I'm like in the church, dental office, and factory world of like commercial. Like that's like all I do is dentist offices, churches, and thrift stores.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think pricing too makes a big difference of what you attract.
Mhm.
But you know, yeah, just like me, I don't know. Like like I said, we don't get customers that don't really care about their property. So I know that we're priced pretty high then in that case. But there is something nice about if you already had a bunch or a kind of like, when for you, when a factory calls, you're going to get it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's good to have that kind of customer where you're good at because it's somewhat predictable or at least, but like, yeah, with us, it's like we know if somebody wants garden work, like they're probably a good fit for us.
Have you ever had the opportunity? I had a place reach out actually like a week ago. They want me to bid a cemetery to mow.
Okay. There's a lot of
Have you?
trimming or
Yeah, there's like 300 stones. He said around 300.
yeah.
And
So
the
how
length
do you bid
between
that?
them,
What's your process for bidding that?
I've never
Like,
bid anything like that. I'm gonna go out there and look at it, and I don't know, just like try to estimate the time that it take like two guys to trim all that because the between the stones, some parts of it, like half of it, I don't even know if you can fit a 36-inch stand on between that.
mm,
I don't know if you have to like push one. It's like a 9-acre piece of property, and some of it's wide open, and there are stones like kind of in the ground, like flat, but a lot of them are up where you obviously have to trim it.
yeah.
I don't know. I've
So
never done
I
anything, but
would probably bid that as if it was two people all day, right? Like a 12-hour day. Um, and just kind of that would be my bid. So if it actually took you guys a full day, you made money for two guys all day. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And if they can get it done in half a day, even better. But at least that's where I would start. Um, yeah, when I don't know what it looks like, or I would look at it and kind of make a decision. Do you think it would take like half a day or a full day? And I would do that bidding kind of like either half a day or full day, and that's it. Um, and then I would even say something like, and if once our guys do it for a few weeks, if we can adjust the price for you, we will. But if we need to adjust it higher, we will too. Like we'll let you know either way. So something like that. I wouldn't go hourly because it's just going to take longer the first time, and then it
yeah,
could also take longer another time. So I wouldn't just do hourly unless like I don't know. But we kind of did that with a big customer that we have, and they're a huge customer now, like huge. And they went away for a year, and then they came back, and they gave us even more work. We bid it as if it was two guys pretty much all day, and it takes my guy now 3 hours, one guy 3 hours to do it,
oh
and we
wow,
still. Well, I wouldn't say all day. That's not true. It's a big job though. It's definitely bid for more than one person, but now one person does it, and now we even give it to new people. Um, it's like so a new guy has it, and he doesn't know any different. He just does it like you know. So, but yeah, those are interesting like that with all that trimming. How do you know? You can't just go by square footage. It's actually you're gonna use a little mower too, but those guys will get faster. So as long as you're getting paid for at least half a day or a full day, doesn't matter, right? No job is gonna take a full day.
yeah.
Two guys that I could think of. Um, but yeah,
Did you always from the beginning like edge every single time you mow since you
yeah,
started?
yeah, I
Is
did.
that standard around you, or are you one of the people that do it
I
more
think it's
often?
pretty standard. Um, and I'm just going off of what customers say. Like they just kind of like they'll question, they'll take pictures. Hey, it didn't. There's like this grass looks like it didn't get edged. You know what I mean? Because when I first started, from what I heard people say, it was pretty common to edge like two times a year, and that was it. Or some crazy thing like that. But I think our grass grows so much that it needs to be maintained a lot more than normal. You know, we have Kentucky blue. Do you have that grass?
Some people try, but it doesn't really do that well here. You have to really make it.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing with our Kentucky Blue, man. It is crazy. It likes the cold weather, not frozen weather, but it likes cold and wet, and it grows so thick, like really thick. And so, yeah, it needs to be like I hate to say it, but we have to bag. I don't make my guys bag, but I tell them it has to look great, and they all bag. It has, if it were up to them, they would never bag, but they can't because the grass it's too thick. So, yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of like tall fescues, like a really common grass here, which we never bag unless like it's like a foot long or something or requested. But we don't just go out and
So,
bag.
so how do you get? I mean, you probably use YouTube a lot, but how do you get more? How do you get information? Like when inspiration for of information.
Uh, I have a few like the guy who I used to work for here before I started mine. I talked to him quite a bit. He does like I don't know. He never actually tells me. He's kind of a clam with like information, but like finance wise. But I know he does like over 2 million, and he's been through like he's had 20 guys. He's been solo. I think right now he's at like 8. But he's actually transitioning out of landscape and lawn care and just going straight spraying. That's all he's doing.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
he tells me like, I mean, he's probably from. I'd say there's like 30 big companies I talk to that are like have shops, have like things like legal. I'd say, and he's probably the top 1 or 2 on pricing. He's really high priced, but he's super confident and he can price that. He's been around for like 30 years in this area, and I don't know. He tells me a lot of things, but a lot of things he kind of leaves on kind of a questionable thing where like, hey, I'll give you 90% of it, but figure out the hard 10% and then you'll be
Mm.
good kind of thing, which I
Yeah.
like. And then I've never asked him like, hey, how do I bid this? Because I feel weird asking him that. But if we do drive around, like we get lunch or something, and I'll be like, oh, I mow that, and he'll say how much, and I'll tell him he's like, oh, you need to raise that, like put that price up ASAP. So that's like where I get it, or just like honestly watching like you. I watch that Florida Turf Pros. I like him. Uh, Mike Andes I watch sometimes. Some of his stuff's like I don't know too much for me, but and then just dude, I get inspiration by just the hunger of not wanting to fail at this. To be honest, like I
Yeah.
don't want to get a job again. To be honest, like
Yeah. I know a lot of times, dude, I think about things, like I could be doing anything, ordering at takeout, and I'm like, how the hell do I fix this problem with this guy? He can't pick up the trimmer all day. How do I fix that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and then I order my cheeseburger. So I like all day. It's all I do. But Eden, we have a 400 unit HOA being built. I'm sure we will have to bid that. Uh, I have the same grass, which is Kentucky Blue. I'm sure it's what he's talking about. Grows like crazy. We edge and trim every week. Yep. Yeah,
what
it's
do you
pretty.
do if the edging's like over the sidewalk, like where you have to take a shovel and
Yeah.
dig under it? Do you do like
They'll trim. So I used to have the rolling one. You know how like you can buy
like the
that rolling one. What's it called? Something edge. I forgot. But I used to always have one of those, and I probably do have one if I really look hard enough. Or somebody stole it because I haven't really seen it in a long time. Um, but no, we started just using the stick edger and just kind of cutting, and then getting the flathead shovel. You know what I mean?
Do you
And
charge
pulling it
more?
out. No, those are all hourlies. For the first
Oh,
time mow, it's all hourly, and so we don't really care. We will, like our guys will tell us, "Hey, man, I'm gonna be here all day." I'm like, when you say all day, what do you mean, like till 4 o'clock or what? They're like, "Yeah." So then we'll call a customer and say, "Look, you're probably gonna be looking at we'll cap it for you today at like 500 or something like that. And that's rare too when one of my workers like it's going to be all day. So, but we want to know that, or else the customer, once they get like a $300 bill for a first time cut, that's usually when they kind of like have problems. That's when they're like, dude, if it was 300, I would have did it myself, kind of thing. So we try and tell the customer that right away, as soon as we can, that it's going to be a lot, and maybe we can cap it for you at this much. If you're okay with that, we'll do that kind of thing. So yeah, all hourly, which works out really great for us. And then Eden, I'm just north of Freddie, up by Boise. Yeah, I was in Boise. I don't know, a month ago. It's pretty awesome. It was the first time I was there.
Has
It was
Eden
pretty.
watched you for a while?
Huh?
Has Eden watched you for a while?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Are you trying to get? I saw you're doing more on TikTok.
Yeah.
Trying to do more videos on there.
Yeah, it's just that I do a lot of content, and I kind of feel like there's some content that I do just doesn't match the platform. You know what I mean? It's like,
I know what you
you
mean,
know,
yeah.
so it's like I've got my Lawn Thumbs Instagram where I basically show like the work we do, and it doesn't go good with some things. And then I've got my personal like Instagram, which doesn't really. I try not to make it lawn thummy. And then I don't know. And then Facebook. I try to keep it just more like ads. You know what I mean? Like commercial kind of stuff. Um, and then so I had these videos that I've been doing that just come out. They came out pretty cool, and I think it's something I can do a lot, like those TikTok videos. But I'm like, I don't really have a place for them. So I started posting those videos that are on TikTok, just on TikTok and Snapchat, which I never thought I'd ever use. But I'm like, you know what? I'll just throw it there too, and Twitter. So all those videos that are on TikTok, I put them on those other two platforms because I would never like. I've tried doing stuff on Twitter, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I just figure I'm gonna start doing it because they're gonna try. Elon Musk is wanting to make it so creators are there, so he's trying to like incentivize it. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, I better start throwing content on there in case it ever turns into YouTube someday. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's kind of why I've been doing TikTok, because I had somebody working on TikTok, and I didn't like the content. But when he first started using it, he basically said, "If you're not using it, let me try throwing stuff up there and see how it works." I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." And then I didn't like it, but since I wasn't contributing to it, I didn't complain. But I didn't like it. But once I made like, I think it was my plow, like how to how to maintain a plow or get it ready for the winter. I thought that video came out really good. So I was like, all right, where do I put this? And actually that could go on a short here, or on if I had like a YouTube for lawn thumbs, I could have had like the blowout one, on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of weird because some of my stuff, it's like, is it for customers? Is it for me? Is it for business owners? That's my three kind of things. And so those videos, I was like, well, I never liked those TikTok videos, so I deleted them all. We only had like 10 followers anyway. So then I just started putting those videos on, and I kind of stopped because the winter started coming and I kind of ran out of content. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm using that for.
Eden said he's been watching you since you were a solo spray guy.
Oh wow, yeah. When I was doing the video, the spray stuff, like I think that's when I had like the most like activity on the channel was the spraying stuff. But yeah, it's like it's just a small part of what I did, and then it got to the point where like a lot of the mow guys, mow people that would watch, they were like, "Hey, whenever you start doing more mowing, I'll get back. I'll watch you more." You know what I mean? It's just like it kind of turned into like a fertilizing channel accidentally.
Do you have a lot of negative comments on social media?
No, no. You know, occasionally I get the, "Hey, you didn't tell me." So like, there was a time where I was trying to do like clickbaity, like sayings on my thumbnails, like, is the Toro Grandstand better than the Z180, whatever, or Z1 Ferris? You know, that was like my title. And then so people would watch it and get mad because they watched the whole video and then go, "You never answered the question."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, it's just a damn title, man. You tell me if it's better or not." So I do
Yeah.
get that kind of happen quite a bit. There is a video that we got a tree to come back to life, and it's still kind of like questionable if it's the same tree or not. You know, like, I have no idea. Um, but I just kind of kept the video there because I believe it is. I talked to John Perry. He was in that video and he told me what to do to fertilize that tree to get it back to life. Because so here's the deal with that. Here's the deal with that tree story. I was meeting John at, it was in Ogden, so it's like north, like an hour and a half drive up north, because he wanted to talk to me about, or I want to talk to him about something with something fertilizing. And so he said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Ogden, actually doing a test spray on like people that I know houses, and I've been doing that for them for 2 years. Like that's my research and development for this fertilizer." So I was like, "If you want to come with me, we'll stop and have lunch, and we'll talk about it." So it's great. So I went, and then he showed me. He was like just finishing up his last house or something like that. So I went there, parked there, and basically we just stayed there the whole time. We didn't even have lunch. We just kind of talked on that yard the whole time. And he was showing me this tree that was dead, completely dead. He said it looked like that tree over there that was like, one of those dried Christmas trees. You know what I mean? And he said, "Look, I've been doing this to it, and look, it's come back, and there's still like those dead areas." So he can like, he's still showing me that it was like totally all like this, but now there's only a small section that looks like a dead Christmas tree. So, and he told me how to do it, and I was like, "Oh, that's freaking awesome!" And then, so he just happened to be in the neighborhood that one year where I did that video of that one tree, and he told me what to do, and I did it. And then I checked back like 2 weeks later, I think, and I did the second application like I was supposed to, and then I forgot about it. I just forgot. So I never went back. Like 2 weeks later, it was like a month and a half later. And I just happened to go back and I went, "Oh, I'm going to look for that tree. Like, I wonder what the tree is." And the other thing is like, that customer used to tell me everything, like, "Change this plant, change this shrub, change this grass isn't done good enough." You know what I mean? Like, "Sprinklers, you need to fix the watering on this." Like, always, always. And they never mentioned that tree to me ever. Like, I didn't even charge them to fix that tree because I just wanted to do it, see if it worked. And since they never even told me of anything about that tree, that's kind of why I believe that it did get fixed too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I did what he told me, and then I finally went back a month and a half later, and I was looking for the tree, and I was like, "Oh shit, did they get rid of it?" And then I realized, I said, "Man, I'm gonna look for needles underneath these trees." So I found a tree that had a bunch of dead needles, and then I looked it up on my video, and I was like, "Oh, that's the same tree because that's the same area." And it looked the same to me, so I kind of like kept it up. And then I started getting comments on Facebook because I actually had a before and after on Facebook. Like, I just took a snapshot of the video as a picture, both before and after, and put that as a Facebook post. And I had a bunch of comments that that's not the same tree. This is BS. And so I called John, because by then I already had the video up, and the video was doing really good, and I think he was getting sales from that video. Because I think I had in the hyperlink, this is the product or something like that. And so I called him and I said, hey, people are saying that that's not the same tree. And he's like, dude, it's the same tree. I said, so I'm kind of thinking of getting rid of the video. He's like, no, keep the video. It's doing good. Like, keep it up. And I was like, he goes, I'm certain it's the same tree. And I was like, okay, I'm keeping it, because the customer never asked me. So he asked me, did you replace it? Like, I said, no. It's like, dude, it's not an easy tree to replace like that, like,
Yeah.
so I just kind of kept it up. But I had a worker that was spraying, fertilizing, and he thinks it's a different tree. He's like, so somehow it got back to him, and he's like, yeah, I noticed. I felt like that tree got replaced because I went and fertilized it, like, 3 weeks before, because I had to do some, kind of like some spot check or weeds. And then I went back and I noticed that tree was much better, like really fast. So I don't think it's the same tree. And I go, well, did you replace it? Like, did you see anybody replacing it? He's like, no, but I think it's so there's always this thing going on with that stupid tree, and I don't know what to do. But I guess I could have asked the homeowner, but by then, like, I wasn't really, we weren't their customer, or they weren't my customer for a while. So I just kind of like left it alone. So that's where we're at with that. That's the only real video that ever made bad comments. Or when I talk about like the turf master,
Yeah.
how I say it doesn't go up hills very well. You get a lot of people that are upset because they think theirs works really well. And so it's just mine that doesn't. So, but
Yeah.
no, for the most part, and the other thing too is I try to keep things like as I'm doing it. Like, I don't say, hey, you need to do this. I'm like, hey, this is what I do. You can
Yeah.
do it if you want or not. This is what I've done, and this is why I do it. So I think that helps me out too, because I'm not like being pushy or like my way's the best way. Like Mike Andy's all about like, you have to do it like this,
Yeah.
and I'm not like that. I'm just like, this is what I do, and I'm just telling you. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so far so good. I haven't had anybody really complain. That issue, I just got a text that says that, he resolved it with the ops manager, and so I'll just leave it at that. So that's the other thing, man. I think I've mentioned this before, but like relinquishing like all that, like control to somebody, not control, but like, hey, you're gonna deal with the workers. It makes it so like you kind of lose your purpose. You forget, like, you not forget, but you kind of like things get chaotic, out of control, because, oh, I thought you were handling that now, and it's like, so now you got to look into it. And there's still a lot of that still happens, like the whole one man crew for the gardens was like, I wish somebody brought that up to me. Like, I wish somebody in my team would say, look, I figured this out. And it's, if we did one man crew, this is what would happen. Like, I can't wait till someday that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And something happened with like the snow too. That we just changed, and it was like I had to change it, and I thought of it, and it was like, man, I thought I didn't want to be involved, but look, I came up with this idea, and it's great. Why can't I get that? Like, is it because like they're so focused on the job that they have that they don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, coming up with different ideas, it's like something different. Like, I do have people come up with good ideas, but they're like operational ideas. Like, why don't we move this job over there to that date, and it'll be great. And those are great ideas. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Or, we only have one guy, but we have 6 jobs. Why don't we do this? And those ideas are awesome. But what I mean are like light, like business changing ideas, like one man garden maintenance crew. Let's do one man for an hour and a half, give them 4 jobs, and we could actually give them more money and give them a bonus for every job they complete. Like, boom. That's amazing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I wish somebody would just, that's what we're doing. But it's just not. So sometimes my whole point of that is because I want to give like my ops manager complete control over operations. But is he going to come up with these ideas that change the business? And I won't notice it because I'm not involved anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what scares me. Because I haven't had them come up to me and go like, boom, this is what we're going to do. Or what do you think if we do this? Let's do it. And this is the outcome. What would happen? It's like, wow, that's amazing. Hasn't had it, but I also have had meetings with like some top managers that I have had in the past who have straight up told me like, you can't expect me to act like this is my business because it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, even with the whole like, hey, I need you to monitor your emails even when you're at home, even on Sunday, and it's like, dude, I do it, but you can't expect me to like. They won't argue because usually with a top line manager like that, that's one of the first things I say. Like, hey, before we talk for this position, I need you to know that it requires like 24-hour access to any worker that's trying to call you, and look at emergencies if a customer is like has an issue. You don't need to respond immediately or in detail, but it needs to be okay, let me handle that on Monday when I come into the office. I got your email. Let me figure something out. Or just like ignore it, but at least know what it is so you're ready to deal with it on Monday kind of thing, or the next day. So you're not just learning it right when you walk in. So I do have them kind of agree to that when they first, like literally when they sit down for the first time interview, like right after I say, hi, how are you? I say, hey, this job requires you to have a company phone, and this is why. So like, you have a company phone, I'm going to call it at 3 a.m. if I need to. I won't call your personal cell phone, but I will call the company phone. And then, I don't expect you to answer it, but I at least expect you to see what it is so you're ready to deal with it whenever it's time. So those are kind of the things I do, but I have had them tell me like, you can't expect me to, to treat it like it's my business. I have had like somebody say, but if I were to get this bonus, I think that, I could definitely do it. Like I could see that as the case. So I have had that happen. So I think that when you have that kind of like, it's just the way it is. Like, I don't know, like I just read this book called Your Next 5 Moves from Patrick Bet David. It's a really good book. He talks about intrapreneurs, which are people that are entrepreneurs, but they don't go off and do their own thing. They want to like escalate your business with a new department or something like that. You know what I mean? So, and I do have somebody like that. And I spoke with her, and I basically told her immediately that, I don't want to take for granted that you want to grow the Southern Division, and we're going to do it. We've already planned. Like when she got hired, her immediate thing was she wanted to do tree work.
Yeah.
She wanted to do like a tree division. And I was like, let's do it. You know what I mean? But you need to do this, this, and that. And she's done that. Those things that I've asked of her. So we're ready to start it. We've already kind of talked about it all year, and we're ready to start it like now. And we've actually been starting it already. Like we've got a subcontractor that does our tree work, and he's freaking amazing. And he actually like eventually wants to be somehow part of this business because he likes it so much. So we have a really good relationship. And so anyway, I just had a meeting with her on our 4-mile walk about how like I know that she's doing this, and I want to make sure that she's rewarded for that. So here's what I want to do for you for doing that. And if you come up with something that's good or better, so I can reward you, let me know. You know what I mean? Because I want you to know that I want you to, because, you know, there are people, you're going to have people that are going to want to grow your company just as much as you do. But if you don't like reward them in some way or make them feel part of it, like they're going to go do it themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Fernando, I mean, I don't know. He's in a spot where I think he's just worried about, like, you know, I can understand. He helped grow this thing. He's getting older. What's going to happen when he can't do it anymore? It's like it's done. Like he has no legacy with it. You know what I mean? And so I kind of get it. Um, but so anyway, but he never really started a division. It was always us, you know, having something already in place and he kind of running with it. But when you've got somebody like my other manager who wants to do this other thing and keep growing what she's currently doing, but wants to grow this other division and like really take steps, not just like talks about it, like she's doing it and she's focused on it. So anyway, you got to reward people like that. He calls them lions. Those are lions, entrepreneurs. You know, you kind of, you know, shrug them off and then they go off and do these amazing things. And it's like, dude, they could have did that with you. So you need to reward them. And I'm all about rewarding, dude. I just want it to be fair, you know? Okay. Yeah. So, there were people that were writing stuff and I didn't see them. So, all right, I'll let you go and I'll just read these and say bye to everybody. And I'll be heading off here in a second too.
All right.
Because it is 9:00, so we've been on for 2 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Nico.
We'll
Thanks,
talk to you
man.
later.
We'll catch you on
Yeah,
the
no
next
problem.
one.
Yep.
See ya.
See ya.
So, Jeff, I really like watching your videos when you're showing your trucks and everything. And Eden, I'm cutting back on bigger social media and concentrating on more local contact. Yeah, I think that's kind of, I don't know. I like doing these for sure. I just wish that we could do them better, but you know, I just don't have the time to like, I don't know, because I can't even think of how to do them better, but I want to. That's for sure. I want to do them better. And then I want to do this like local YouTube for my customers that will be more of like how to kind of stuff. And again, I don't think, am I going to be out there on the property showing exactly how to do it? Maybe, but, or maybe I'm going to be on the desk with like a video, you know, showing over here or something. I don't know, but I want to talk to the customers directly, which is something I've never really done on YouTube. I've always talked to business owners. So I kind of want to explore that. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But all right, guys, I've been on for 2 hours. Appreciate everybody. And I'll see you on the next one. I can't figure out where the turn off is. There we go.